She chuckled. Our children aren't my concern. When I sought assistance, I remarked, you're correct. When child support enforcement deducted money from her pay for the kids she'd neglected, they became her financial issue. I, a 34-year-old man, genuinely believed co-parenting would be easy. Even after Veronica, 32, and I separated 2 years back, I thought she would at least remain engaged with our children, Lily, 8, and Mason, 6. I couldn't have been more mistaken. The divorce itself was quite simple. We drifted apart. She wanted to discover herself. Typical stuff. We initially agreed on equal custody. I kept our home since I could manage the mortgage on my own. She received her vehicle and half of our savings. Standard division. The kids continued their education in their school district with me. For the first few months, she took them every other weekend as planned. Then it changed to once a month, then every couple of months. By last summer, she had basically vanished from their lives, except for the occasional FaceTime call that lasted maybe 5 minutes. Meanwhile, she seemed to be living her best life, according to her Instagram. A new downtown apartment, constant bar photos, weekend getaways, a new boyfriend every few months, living like she was 22 with no responsibilities. The tipping point arrived 3 weeks ago. Mason had been wondering why mommy doesn't come around anymore, and Lily needed new school supplies and clothes. She's growing so fast. I texted Veronica asking if she could assist with expenses since she hadn't contributed a penny in child support despite our agreement. I also asked if she wanted to see them for Lily's upcoming birthday. Her reply came as a call, and she was actually laughing, saying, "Look, Tyler, this whole parenting thing isn't working for me. Our kids aren't my concern anymore. You wanted the house and custody so badly. You deal with it. I'm living my life now." I was shocked. They're your kids, Veronica. They are my kids. I mentally relinquished my rights. Stop trying to guilt me. I'm done being a mother. She hung up. I sat there staring at my phone while my kids had dinner in the next room, completely unaware that their mother had just abandoned them like a bad investment. That's when it hit me. She was right about one thing. They weren't her problem, but she was wrong about another. She can't just decide that by herself. I spent that evening documenting everything. Every missed visit, every text where she canceled, every month she didn't provide financial support, the custody agreement stating she owes child support, screenshots of her social media showcasing her lavish lifestyle while claiming she couldn't afford to help with her children. The following morning, I made an appointment with my lawyer. Update 1. While things were in motion and Veronica was not pleased, my lawyer filed for full custody and formal child support enforcement through the state. Since Veronica had effectively abandoned the kids for over 6 months without any financial support, we had a solid case. The state child support enforcement agency doesn't mess around. They quickly found her employment details. She works as a marketing manager at a tech startup, earning a decent income of around $75,000 a year, more than enough to cover her share. The first she learned about it was when HR summoned her to a meeting. The state had sent a wage garnishment order. 25% of her income will now come directly to me for the kids. That's about $1,200 a month after taxes. She called me screaming, no longer laughing. "What did you do? I held you accountable. You said the kids weren't your concern. Now they're the state's issue to ensure you pay for. You vindictive piece of ... You're ruining my life. I can't afford my apartment with this garnishment. You should have thought about that before neglecting your children." I didn't neglect them. I just needed space. 8 months of space, no visits, no calls, no money. That's neglect. Veronica tried everything, making threats about hiring a lawyer, using what money? Claiming I was alienating the kids. Documented evidence shows otherwise. Even attempting to sweet-talk me into working something out between us. There's nothing to negotiate. You made your stance clear. The state is just ensuring you fulfill your financial obligations. But here's where it gets interesting. Her mom Diane called me the next day. Diane has always been a piece of work, entitled, enabling, always making excuses for Veronica. The apple didn't fall far from that tree. "Tyler, sweetheart, this garnishment situation is absurd. Ronnie's just going through a phase. You need to call this off." A phase? She hasn't seen her kids in 8 months. "Diane, she's finding herself. You can't punish her for that. Besides, you make good money. You don't need her help. It's not about what I need. It's about what the kids are entitled to from both parents. Well, if you keep this up, she might never come back to be a mother to them. She already made that choice. At least now she's facing the consequences." Diane hung up on me. 20 minutes later, I received a text from Veronica's dad, Robert. A much more reasonable guy. Always has been. "Tyler, I'm sorry about all this. Just discovered what's been happening. Diane's been telling me Veronica was seeing the kids regularly. I had no idea. Do what you need to do. Those kids deserve better. At least someone in that family has sense. The kids are doing well. I haven't told them about the drama with their mom, just keeping their routine normal. Though Lily asked me last night if mommy doesn't love them anymore. It broke my heart. I told her mommy loves them but is dealing with adult issues. I'm not sure how long that explanation will hold. The garnishment starts next month. Veronica's already posting on social media about needing to move to a less expensive place, canceling a girl's trip to Vegas, selling her designer bags. Cry me a river. Update 2. The first garnishment hit, and the fallout was explosive. Veronica tried to quit her job to avoid paying. Brilliant plan. No job, no wages to garnish. Wrong. My lawyer immediately filed a motion for contempt. The judge wasn't amused. He told her she had 30 days to find comparable employment or face jail time. She went crawling back to her job, but they'd already filled her position. They offered her a lower position at a reduced salary. She had to accept it. Here's where her entitlement really went off the rails. She showed up at my house last Tuesday. The first time she'd been here in almost a year, not to see the kids. They were at school. She came to negotiate. She looked rough. The designer clothes were gone, replaced with ordinary attire. The expensive highlights were grown out. Reality was hitting hard. Tyler, please. I can't live like this. Like what? Paying for your children? I'm barely surviving. I had to move in with a roommate. A roommate? I'm 32 years old. And I'm 34, raising 2 kids alone. We all make sacrifices. This isn't fair. You tricked me. Tricked you? You literally said our kids weren't your concern. I just agreed with you and let the state handle it. Then she pulled out the manipulation card, starting to cry about her struggles with depression, how she never meant to abandon them, how she just needed time to figure things out. Veronica, you posted pictures from Cabo 2 weeks ago. The tears stopped instantly. That was a work trip with the hashtag living my best life. She switched tactics again. Fine. What do you want? Do you want me to beg? I'm here, aren't I? I don't want anything from you except what the court ordered. The kids needed a mother. You chose not to be one. Now you just owe money. Can I at least see them? You haven't asked about them once in this entire conversation. You haven't inquired about how they're doing in school, if they're healthy, what they like now. You're here about money, not them. She couldn't even deny it, just stood there with her mouth open. When you actually want to be a mother, not just avoid payments, we can discuss supervised visits. She left, but not before hitting my truck on her way out. Joke's on her. I have security cameras. I added destruction of property to the file. My lawyer sent her a bill for the repair estimate, $1,800. Pay up or face charges. But the real twist came 3 days later. Remember Diane, her enabling mother? She tried to ambush me at the grocery store with the kids. Grandma Diane. Mason ran up to her. He still loved his grandma, even if she hadn't seen them in months either. Hi, baby. She hugged him and then looked at me with icy eyes. Tyler, we need to talk about this situation. Not in front of the kids, Diane. Fine, kids. Go pick out some candy. She handed them each $5. They ran off to the candy aisle. You're destroying my daughter. Your daughter destroyed herself. I'm just ensuring she fulfills her legal obligations. She can't afford to live. She can't afford her lifestyle. There's a difference. You're being cruel. Those kids need their mother. They needed their mother 8 months ago. Where was she? Where were you? You haven't seen them either. I was respecting Veronica's space. By abandoning your grandchildren too? That hit a nerve. How dare you? I love those children. Love requires showing up, Diane. You failed too. She raised her hand as if she was going to slap me. I pulled out my phone. Please do. I'll add assault to the file. She lowered her hand, grabbed her purse, and stormed off. Didn't even say goodbye to the kids. They came back with their candy, asking where Grandma went. Another conversation I had to navigate. That night, Veronica sent me a long text about how I'm alienating her entire family, ruining her life, traumatizing the kids, being a vindictive ex who can't move on, etc. I replied with one line, your payment is due on the 1st. She blocked me. Fine by me. All communication goes through lawyers anyway. Robert, her dad, reached out again, though. He apologized for Diane's behavior. He said he'd like to have a relationship with the kids if I'm comfortable with it. He's willing to do it properly, supervised visits at first, family therapy if needed, whatever works. Finally, an adult in that family. Meanwhile, I learned through mutual friends that Veronica's been telling everyone I am financially abusing her, that I manipulated the system, that I turned the kids against her. Nobody's buying it, though. Hard to claim poverty when people saw your Cabo post 2 weeks ago. The garnishment continues. The kids are in therapy now to deal with the abandonment. They're doing better. Lily made the honor roll. Mason joined Little League. They've stopped asking about their mom. They've adjusted to our new normal. Just the 3 of us with Papa Rob visiting and my sister helping out when needed. The child support money? Every cent goes into their college funds and necessities. They'll have what they need for their futures, even if it's coming from a garnishment rather than love. Veronica was right about one thing. Our kids aren't her problem. They're her legal responsibility, and that's all she'll ever be to them now. A monthly deposit and a cautionary tale about choosing selfishness over family. As for me, I'm done being angry, done expecting her to change, done shielding the kids from the truth in age-appropriate ways. They understand mommy chose not to be around, but that it's not their fault. They know they're loved by those who show up, and that's enough. Sometimes the best revenge isn't elaborate. It's simply holding someone accountable to the law and letting their own choices consume them. Veronica sought freedom from her children. She got it. But freedom isn't free. It costs $1,500 a month plus interest.